Knockout Legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. Now we're going to be talking about the aftermath of the Stephen Fulton versus Naoyo Inoue fight. And basically, Inoue stops Fulton in the 8th round. 1 minute and 40 seconds into the 8th round, and he hit him with that right, what I was talking about in the live commentary. So I know a lot of people probably didn't how can I put it, didn't probably rate Inoue, but if you're into boxing and you understand fundamentals and skill, you can see, especially with the power and the way he throws his shots. But it's not just that, he actually is a lot better than people give him credit for, because the distance control, the feinting, the head movement, the timing, the foot movement, the ring distancing and placing, and the pace of the fight as well, they were actually masterful. It's like watching the past. It's also like watching Pacquiao, when Pacquiao moved up through all the weight classes that he moved up through. Because remember, Pacquiao started off in something ridiculous like Inoue in the weight classes, and just moved his way up till he became a natural welterweight fighter. Now, a lot of people bash Pacquiao and say, oh, he's steroids, this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. But I don't know about any of that. But anyway, Pacquiao did what Pacquiao did and beat who he beat, and is a Hall of Famer, is a legend. I think it's 8 weight champion or something ridiculous like that, you know, gone through 8 divisions. You know, I'm not even sure what he started off at. I think it might have been strawweight. But anyway, Inoue has the ability, it seems, to possibly even go up to those weight classes. He's probably got another, if he keeps boxing, maybe another 20 pounds to fill into, going up. So we could possibly see him at, you know, the 140 weight at some point, because at the end of the fight, when they were having the words in the ring, they called in the IBF and I think it was the WBA Super Bantamweight champion, and they were talking about unifying, and basically said, yeah, undisputed this year. So it looks like we're going to get another super fight with Inoue again, doing what Inoue does. And this time it seems like it's going to be a Filipino champion that he's going to be fighting. So that will actually be interesting to see. And if he manages to unify and become undisputed, it'll be, well, I don't think it'll be the first, because obviously if Crawford does what he's going to do on the 29th, then Crawford will be the first 2-weight undisputed champion. And I honestly believe that Crawford's going to do the job and do the business. So, but that's another video anyway. But talking about the actual fight in itself and the breakdown, I already did a commentary, a live commentary on the fight, because I watched it, and I basically went through the whole fight round by round, punch by punch, basically described as much as I could, and just gave my thoughts and opinion on it, and whatnot. So if you have time, go and check that video out. But anyway, just to break down the summary of the fight, the aftermath of it, with Fulton, and what I found pretty pertinent within the fight was, even though Fulton was this champion and he was very slick and he was very like a very good counter-puncher. It seems he got outmaneuvered when he was supposed to be the better, how can I put it, back foot fighter, because his stance was very, very wide. Now, what I found with that is he couldn't really set his feet and plant his feet to throw punches. So he was just jabbing off the back foot and throwing shots. But it was more of a safety first approach, because he actually respected Inoue's power, and you could see that throughout the fight, going from round 1 up to the knockout. So he knew what he was facing. And now I don't know if he actually thought that I don't know if this was like a cash out, because maybe there was no one else to fight in his division, and maybe he just thought this is the biggest fight he could get at that moment in time. But he did dare to be brave, and he did want to test himself, and he went to Japan and decided to take on Inoue, which is in itself a brave actual thing to do, and to go on the road. But you could see the class and the gulf in styles. Inoue is a lot better than people give him credit for, because even though he's very basic in what he does, when he has to think and still has to fight like a slick counterpuncher, back foot fighter that's fluid, he actually implemented other things within his actual boxing skill, and you saw more of him as a complete fighter. So he actually, in some aspects of the fight, he actually out counterpunched the counterpuncher, and he out jabbed him as well, in the sense that he would time Fulton when Fulton was coming in there, the jab. I think Fulton overreached at times with the jab, trying to actually stamp his authority with that, but he was afraid that the right would come from the 1-2 to catch him, and that overhand right was powerful. So when he actually felt it a few times, he decided he didn't want any of that, so it was more tentative shots to the body, trying to like keep the distance and keep him away. And then when he did actually have to engage on the inside, he'd try and tie him up. So I don't think Fulton actually wanted to actually, how can I put it, engage in a way where he'd be throwing shots on the inside. I think it was more of a take him into the home stretch thing, tire him out, then when he had the chance, raid in and raid out, and then probably attack on the inside and then tie him up, and then just make it a bit messy but try and outbox him and win that kind of way. And if he saw a weakness or a chink in the armour, maybe go for the knockout at some point if he could implement that, if he hurt him. But Inoue's plan from day one was the knockout. You could see it in the way he threw his punches and the way he stamped his authority in the middle of the ring, the way he wanted to just control the middle of the ring. He wanted to test how good Fulton actually was, the way he would throw shots with power and try and catch Fulton, and that actually made Fulton a bit tentative. So he respected the power of Inoue and decided, I'm not coming into the killing ground, I'll stay outside it. So, you know, but it made for a thrilling fight, it made for a good competition, it made for a good like game of chess with boxing, in the sense that certain times neither man wanted to give ground, but there was inching, and like if you're on a chess piece and you're moving your pieces and you're moving your pawns and you want them to get given up, so you got room to maneuver your other big pieces to get a checkmate. That's basically what was going on with the jabs and with the foot placement and the movement, because that sometimes through the fight Fulton was doing dirty stuff like standing on Inoue's feet, and like that's the thing that happens with a lefty, a southpaw, and a right foot and a righty orthodox, and you don't really see people do them kind of old school tactics. That was like a bit of dirty bad sportsmanship from Fulton there, and the referee warned him about that. But if you can get away with it, and then you can throw a punch while the other person's static and they can't move, and you can hit them, you can hurt them, that's a chance. So it's a dirty tactic, but if you can get away with it, you get away with it. But anyway, as the fight progressed, we saw Inoue let his hands go more, and when he let his hands go more, a lot of them right hands kept hitting Fulton, and Fulton thought none of that. He would cover up or try and move out of the way or get away or dance away. And at times he was like just probably a second or two away from getting cornered in the corner or on the ropes, where he'd either have to dance out of the way or move and spin out and pivot out, or he'd have to like engage and then grab him and try and like take as least damage as possible. But as soon as we come into the mid rounds and then shots got getting let off, Fulton started to get hit a little bit more, but he still was game. He still tried to keep distance and kept his guard up and would attack when he could with the counter attacks. But you saw shots getting through, and then as it got to the later rounds, predictably, it happened where Inoue placed the shots and then got the shots off that he needed to get off. And I don't even think it's predictability. I think it's more timing and more that if you are sure in your ability and what you're going to do, things will work out the way they work out because you've practiced them in the gym, you've sparred, you've done your bag work, you've done your mitt work, you've done your speed ball work, your timing, your placement. Eventually, when you do the drills in your head with the mitt guy, you know, with your sparring partners, it pays off, because obviously he studied Fulton to the point where he basically counterpunched the counterpuncher, and he outpunched him in a way where I think times Fulton was surprised that he was getting hit with certain shots and getting out like jabbed on by the basically puncher. So it just goes to show there was a little bit more to Inoue's game. So when he actually caught Fulton with the right and then just started levering him and just knocked him down, I think Fulton was shocked when he got knocked down. And then he got up, but that shot, what he hit him with as he went down, he knew. He was brutal intentions, like Manny Pacquiao, just brutal power. But anyway, when he got up and then he cleared his head and walked about trying to survive for the rest of the round, we knew it was over, because that was the first time that Fulton actually got cornered in the corner and he couldn't escape, and he actually tried to cover up and, you know, take the shots, but he's been running from that the whole 8 rounds, so there was no way once he'd been hurt that he could get away from that. He'd have to just ride out the storm and try and counterpunch it, or the referee would stop the fight, which is what happened. The referee stopped the fight and he lost. So he dared to be great, but he wasn't great enough. And hats off to him. At least we're getting fighters doing what the sport is about, which is daring. So they're doing what needs to be done. Not like these people that are, oh, they want too much money, they want this, they want that, you know, they're just farting around and jumping around the issue and not really daring to be great, but they're saying they're great, but the actions don't rely, the words don't rely with the actual actions of what's going on. The little guys are stealing the show. They're showing us what boxing's about. You know, we got Crawford and Spence, we got Inoue and Fulton. They're showing us the way with the boxing. The big guys, what can I say? At least Dilly and AJ are fighting, and they're not even champions. They're just basically contenders, but they're still challenging themselves with the best what's available. The rest of the heavyweight division, it is what it is. I can't blame Usyk, because Usyk will fight if, you know, if the people want to fight, but it seems nobody else wants to actually do what should be done. But anyway, what do you think of the fight? Did you watch the fight? Do you rate Inoue's skills? Did you think Fulton had a chance? So anyway, leave your comments in the comment sections and hit the notification button for more content like this, and like, comment and subscribe. And that is another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.